Oh, hey everybody. Welcome back to This Is What We Do. Hey, on a special note, happy Memorial Day to all of you. It's been a while and my apologies, just life kind of got in the way and we did forget about the old Dodge truck project, but today we got some downtime. We're off and we're going to get back on the priming of the back of the cab. Um, so here we go. What we got is I went out here the other night and I took some sandpaper and I've got some 220 grit here, and it's actually meant to go on a backer for like an air sander, but we just fold it in half and do it by hand. But anyway, I went over all the blue part here and I scuffed it up. Now the reason why we scuff it up is because the primer I'm using is an epoxy base, and if you don't scuff it up, the primer just won't stick to the paint very well, or not at all. Even though it's a good primer, it just doesn't want to stick. So we scuffed it up, and here in a few minutes, we're going to do a little bit of quick masking, just basically so we don't get paint or primer on the window glass. And then we'll wipe it down one more time. We'll show you how we do that. You've probably seen other videos, but I'll show you the way we do it, much just like what everybody else does. And then we'll get into mixing up a little bit of paint, and we'll throw some prime on here. So welcome back. Let's get started. Okay, the first thing I'm going to do is I've got some blue painter's tape, and I chose this because it doesn't stick to the primer or the paint that well. But for what we're doing, it works great, and it's easier to remove. If you use like masking tape, true masking tape, or box tape, or that clear cellophane, you're going to run into some problems. For one thing, the cellophane paint tape, excuse me, when you apply the primer to it, the thinner or the activator was going to react with that plastic and just make a huge mess. So just get yourself a roll of a blue painter's tape and start taping her off. So we're going to climb in here, and this doesn't have to be a perfect masking job. I just want a line, something that I can tape off of with the paper that's getting ready to go up next. So let me go ahead and get this started. And like I say, it doesn't have to be beautiful. It just has to work. And I'm not one that likes to tape. I do it because I have to, but it's a little time consuming, a little tedious. So that gives us an edge. And if you notice, I've got it up into the next section of black prime, and that's done deliberately so that I can overlap it. And yes, there'll be a bit of a primer ridge here, but we're going to sand that all down when we actually get ready to paint the truck. So one thing you want to make sure you do is once you apply your tape is give it some firm pressure and make sure it's adhered all the way across. Now like this corner here, I dip down into the blue, don't want to do that. So let's pull this up. And with paper tape, you can kind of track it up a little bit. It's not real rigid. So there we go. So I won't bore you with all the other taping, but I'm gonna go ahead and run a piece down the side here, and then I'll come back with paper, cover all this, and then we'll pick up with prepping the surface. We're going to wipe it down with some wax and grease remover, real good. I'll show you some things there to look for on the rag. You want to make sure it's picking up all the dirt and debris. This was pre-washed the other night with just some Dawn, mild Dawn, and soap water. So she's ready to go. Okay, so we got our paper out here. This is true paper, painter's paper, and it's kind of thick, and we got this at the local home store, and it seems to work pretty good. I mean, you can buy the expensive stuff at an auto body shop, but this seems to work fine. So let me see if I can get this cut here real quick. I need 3 hands, and I don't have 3 hands. What am I doing here? I don't know. Okay, so that's waste paper, or not wasting paper, we're just waste paper. All right, so let's get a hunk off here. And really should do the whole back piece with one piece of paper. So let's see here. Add a little bit to that. Works really good if you have a buddy, or if your lady's willing to come out here and work with you on your car. That would be even better. Of course, I get a razor that's dull. Oh boy. All right. Okay, so get yourself a sharp knife when you're cutting paper. We all knew that. So let's see, fold this in half. That's about half. All right, so somewhere in here. I don't like I don't like wrapping presents either. So anyway, there we go. I don't know, paper to me is so flimsy. I'm used to working with stuff like metal or wood, and I never did good in arts and crafts either. Did like making stuff out of clay. Remember that when you were kids? You make stuff out of clay, and then they put it in one of those kilns and they bake it, and then you'd find out if you actually made your little character or your bowl or whatever you were making for mom and dad, if you did it right, because if they heated it up, it would just explode, and the teacher would hand you back all these pieces and say, oh, there's your bowl you made, mom or dad. Now you just need some glue to put all the pieces together. So anyway, and we're going to be careful with the spray gun because I'm not going to tape this whole thing. We'll keep the pressure down so that it doesn't get primer all over our window glass and make a huge mess. But you kind of get the idea of what we're doing. I usually just tear little pieces off, kind of just tack it up there. Something like that. Okay. Can't leave this flap go. We got to tape this flap down because as we're painting, the paint spray will actually go up underneath this lip, and when you take this paper off, your whole window glass will just be full of paint or primer, whatever you're shooting there. So you got to seal your edges. Of course, we'll have a little overlap like that. When you buy your supplies too, I would get a little extra tape, maybe not so much paper. Paper goes a long way. This roll here, what did it say? I think it's like 50 feet, 12 inches wide, 60 yards. So you don't need to get a ton of paper, but you do need to get a generous supply of tape. Now you can also see here too, it's not a big deal, but there's two different brands of paper tape, this light blue and this dark blue. Well, this dark blue, it's really sticky and heavy. Don't really need all that. I put a couple pieces down here just as an example, but this stuff is much better, the light blue. Of course, if all you got is the other, you just got to use what you got. So there you go. That's all the taper we're going to do there. I'm going to get a sheet of cardboard to go between the cab and the frame, and then we'll take it to the next step. Oh, one other thing. So just a quick note, once again, we had the blue painter's tape. Let me just go over a little bit of our equipment we're using here, or supplies. Box of rubber gloves. They're good. You can do this barehanded. It's not recommended. My hands are beat up over the years, and just putting another dose of chemicals in your hands, just not smart. Get yourself some rubber gloves. There's a whole different kinds of ones you can use out there, brand names. This is just generic latex. It's not the best thing in the world to use, but it'll work for the few minutes when we're doing it. If I was doing a whole car, I wouldn't use this. Use something better. This is just 220 grit sandpaper, and then we got some blue shop towels, and then I'll show you my wax and grease remover here in a minute. We're getting ready to start throwing some primer here in a minute. Just wanted to go over a couple things with you, what we use. As far as materials goes, this wax and grease remover is from an auto body store. It's good name brand stuff. I won't mention the name, but if you want to zoom up, you'll see the name. There's lots of different brand names. They all work really good, but this did come from an auto body supply store. Um, Paint filters, you get them from your local freight store. 100 of them is like less than 10, 15 bucks. So we got plenty of paint filters. This is essential. Reason being is that after you've mixed your paint or your primer and you get ready to put that into a paint bucket or actually into the gun, the way we're going to do it, because we're just going to mix 1 cup of paint. It's not much at all. You want to strain it. I'll have to go look at the box what the micron level of this is. Micron is the unit of measurement for this mesh here of how good filtration it does. But from the local freight store, these work really good and they're inexpensive. So that's one way you can go. Paper towels, got to have them. You're always making a mess. Screwdriver, in this case, that's just open the paint bucket. I guess you figured that out. Okay, the primer. This is a urethane-based primer. We got it from the fellows at Summit. They don't sponsor the channel or anything like that. It's just a reasonably priced, good shipping. It's a good product. It's what we use. So this is a urethane prime black. And with a 2-stage type of paint, you need an activator. So the activator is kicks off the paint, makes it dry. If you were to shoot this without that, this stuff would stay sticky for weeks. It's almost like spraying the backside of masking tape. It would be just a total mess. You'd have to wipe it all off the card. And don't ask me how I know, but that's, you need the activator. Some people call it hardener. Okay, the reducer or thinner. The way they have you blend it, you really don't need much of this at all. I always like to mix it a little on the thin side, and then I'll just apply more coats. Reason being is that sometimes the fluctuation in your air hose pressure will cause the paint to dry if you got too much, pressure going on, and it can clog the nozzle and just make this whole finish look like liquid sand. It's a mess. So I usually give it a little splash and do a test hit on some piece of cardboard. We got some cardboard here. Do a test hit on it and see if it's right. And then, of course, like with your gun, let me get the gun real quick. Okay, the gun, we got this from a local freight store too. This wasn't their base model. It was one of their better models, not the top of line, but intermediate. So for what we were doing, it worked great. Couple things. We added pressure regulator at the gun. I usually start out around 40 PSI, sometimes pop it up to 50, 55. It all depends on what I'm shooting. The inline air filter, real good idea. Bits of rubber, moisture, what have you. You don't want that into your paint, ruin your finish. Has a fan adjustment. We can open the fan, we can turn it and make it more of a straight line spray for like little cracks and crevices hard to reach, and then turn it and make the fan open up again. The top round button here, it's marked 1, 2, 3, 4. Basically, it's your trigger pull. It's how much the fluid nozzle will move back and forth, how much paint will come out. That's just something you have to play with. Once you get the fan dialed in or get used to being able to adjust this on the fly, like if you're doing a panel and you want to go down in between some cracks, you can change the fly on it or the fan on it, and then open it back up again to back on the panels. The fluid, how much paint you're putting down, when you apply it, you want to make sure with your overlap it's going on wet. If it goes on dry, you've either mixed it wrong, too much air pressure, maybe not enough paint's actually coming through. So we'll get started here. Okay, one more thing before we get going here. Probably the most important thing of this whole project is person protection. We have a respirator here, a set of glasses, and these respirators with the type of primer or paint that we shoot, you need a special respirator. They're not exactly cheap, but you only have one set of lungs. You need to take care of that. So basically, in a nutshell, this has a pre-filter. This cover pops off. This filter is replaceable, and you can see it's been used once before. It's got a little bit of dark color to it, and then has the cartridge filters. Now, these filters will last quite a while, but to preserve them, you need to put them back in the bag. It has a Ziploc edge to it, So when you're done painting, just pop it back in, zip it up, and take a magic marker and put the date on here. So let's say May 1st, you open this up, and you used it for the first time, put May 1st. And then when you get finished with what you're doing today, you'll put the date on there again. And after a period of time, just go ahead and change them out. Um, these pre-filters, they'll get dirty really fast. This will probably be the last time for these filters, and we'll have to change those out. The cartridges last a little longer. You could probably go 4 to 6 months. I probably wouldn't go any longer than that. The activated charcoal that's in the cartridge will actually remove all the toxins that you would otherwise be breathing without this mask. So you don't want to shoot this kind of paint or any paint. I would recommend get yourself a good respirator. Eyeglasses, they are what they are. They protect your eyes. Sometimes accidents happen. You might accidentally pull the trigger, and you don't want to. Paint primer get you in the face, protects your eyes. Real important. So we just got finished wiping it down with wax and grease remover, this whole surface, and probably can't see it too much on camera, but this has only been wiped down about 4 times. We started out washing it off with soap and water, and you can see a little discoloration right here. When you wipe it down for the last time, we'll wipe it once more here in just a minute. You want the rag to look clean. You want all the debris, any kind of lint that might be on there, picks up all that stuff. This finish is so clean, I'm probably not going to use a tack rag. I'd show you one, but I don't know where it is right at the moment. A tack rag has a beeswax impregnated into the cloth, and you just gently wipe it over the panel. It picks up the last final bits of any kind of debris. We're just going to hit it with an air hose. So be back a little bit. We'll get this thing rolled in the paint booth, and I'll show you what's going on. Well, we rolled it out of the paint booth about an hour or so ago, and I'm getting ready to take the paper off. It didn't come out too bad. I just basically put one medium coat of primer on there, and didn't come out bad at all. A lot of this will get resanded when we get actually ready to paint the truck. I wanted to just get it covered. Having a black truck now with a blue spot on it just looked kind of weird. So maybe later on the day, after some hamburgers and hot dogs, we'll get the bed on, or just call it quits. Hey, on a special note, this is Memorial Day. Just wanted to say thank you to all the veterans out there, both with us and the ones that aren't, for giving a piece of themselves to our country. Makes a difference. Thank you. This is what we do. Have a good Memorial Day.